Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Let me get the stream posted out to the world on Twitter real quick. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Let me get the stream posted out to the world on Twitter real quick. And let's close this down. Let's get the stream up on my side here so that I can watch the chat. So we got some real good progress going. And let me just make sure that my audio is working. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. All right. The stream posted out to the world. Okay, so I'm in the Yang suite here. We'll come back to the Yang suite. But first I need to turn on the features that I need on my iOS XE devices. So let's see if they're up yet. I just got the sandbox going. Well, that's not a good start. 0 for 2 on the sandbox devices. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Or enable our features in the back end anyway. Is my VPN down? That's likely what it is. Yeah. Let me get my VPN up. Hope everyone's doing well this Saturday morning. Got a cup of coffee. We're going to do some coding. Okay, now that the VPN is up, let's retry these SSH sessions. There we go. Okay, so what we need to do is log in, go into config T mode, turn on HTTP secure server, turn on RESTCONF, and turn on netconf yang. And we'll do a write mem here. Sign back into this device. Good, they're both up today. Conf T, IP, HTTP, secure server, RESTCONF, netconf yang, and we'll do the write mem. And so we're all set. Now let's launch Postman just to be sure. Now sometimes the RESTCONF does take a couple minutes to get set up, but let's just make sure before we start running any automation. My VPN's reconnecting. And as you can see, and let me show you how I got to this point. Inside of the Yang suite, and I've already loaded my device and loaded all the models from the device. We're going to look for open config interfaces. Okay, and we'll just have no limit on the depth, and we're going to load the module. So now what we're going to do is find, right, what we want is under config, this description API. So we're going to generate the API, and we're going to show the API, and here is where I'm getting the put or the get for description. Now I can try it out right here, but I like to move over to Postman. So I have my device for loopback 0, let's get the description. And it is just the word to. Now I could change this to a put and change the body to something else and put it and declaratively, idempotently change that description. But let's do that programmatically. That's the whole idea here. So let's head back into the code. And right now my intent should match. Now I've rewritten some code from last night, and I don't know that it's going to work. It's sort of on a draft level here, but I have changed my mind to make all of these follow-ups as tests. An if failed interface. So here's where my original, all of this below is new, but I had it where if there's failed interfaces, and that is if the actual description doesn't match my intended description, and my intended description comes from the self or value.description, and that is from my loop inside of my custom interfaces items. And that comes from this testbed extension. And here's all my intended descriptions. So if failed interfaces, which is just an empty dictionary here, I write to it the intended description. Meaning, if failed interfaces is true, if it's not empty, then fail the test. And I have to remove this goto. Then I follow it up with a few others. I missed one here. All right, so what I'm going to do is say aetest.test, and I'm going to add the line if self.failed interfaces. So if it's true, then go ahead and update the interfaces, else self.skipped with a message that says no description mismatches skipping the test. So if failed interfaces is still empty, that means I've passed the test. Otherwise, go ahead and update that interface. So what I'm doing here is setting up a payload with my payload to get the my intended description, and I'm using self.device.rest.put against that Yang model API with my payload. And that all works. The only thing is that I wasn't getting some failed test. It was just saying passed because of my go-to statement. So this should all pass, I believe. And I need to go into my virtual environment. So just give me 1 second here. Okay, so it's pyATS run job rest connector job.py. And I'm hopeful that everything will pass all tests. And they all pass. Actually, there's a description that doesn't match. And so which one didn't match? Oh, here we go. So interface description matches intent failed. Retest failed. Okay, so I'm not sure why retest failed. So I'm sort of partway there. It did update the description. So I bet if I ran this again, and it did post. So let's take a look at the logs for what happened. Right, so my intended description was configured by RESTCONF, but it just said network interface. So then it updated the interface. It got the data again. It created the post-test file. So I should have, here's my pre-test file. And if I look for description, it was network interface, the config description. But if I go to my post-test, no, so it didn't. I thought it would have posted post-test. It should have. Okay, so my post-test file is not creating the right file type, or it's not creating the captured test. Description plus network interface. It should have said configured by RESTCONF though, not network interface. So something in my new logic is not quite working, because what I should have is in the intent, I should have configured by RESTCONF. Oh, there is no loopback. Should have been gigabit 2. And it looks like loopback. Yeah, I'm using the sandbox, which changes. So let me log into the sandbox and just see if they even have loopback 100 anymore. They might not. They have loopback 100. Oh, no, they have loopback 110, 110. So let me change this to loopback 110, 110. And what was the description? Network interface. And let me just see, did I actually update showrun int gi2? No, the description did not get updated. And that might have been an error because I pushed to the wrong loopback. Well, let's make it match. I don't want to necessarily change anything right now. I just want to test that my logic is working. And it wasn't working. So update interface. Where did it try to post to? Put to loopback 110, 110. Let me run it again now that everything matches. Right, so these are all skipped because there is no failed test, which is good. Okay, now let's change one on our local device here. Should fail. Should fail. Okay, so now this should fail, and I'm curious as to where my logic is breaking down. May just be an order of operations thing. Let's take a look. Aha, I think this all worked properly. It was just that my intent didn't match the actual. So very cool. So, right, the description matches intent failed. Update description passed. Get post data yang passed. Create post diff. And then retest passed. And then retest calls the get the pre-yang data and retest the interfaces. So now if I look at that pre-test, it should say should fail. And if I look at my post-test, it should say 2. Right, 2. So that's my pre and my post. That's all working. And I now have it failing the test and then retesting as a pass. And if I look at my logs, I should have the banner, the table twice. Right, so here is the logs. Right, the intent is to, the actual was should fail. So we have a failed reason, there's a mismatch. Right, the put to interface loopback 0 was 204. I re-get the data, I create my post-test file, and then I do my pre-post diff, and here's the diff. I'm removing should fail, and I'm adding 2. And then I retest, and retest passes. Very cool. Very cool. That's all working out wonderfully. Now, very good. Very good. Now let's do some new development. So what I thought we could do is, and there's lots. I mean, we have the worlds at our ocean. Let's do message of the day. So right now I'm just testing if it's the state, if it's present, then it has a banner. Else there is no banner, fail the test. Now the banner could be huge, so I'm not going to log the banner. I'm just going to say has banner. And then maybe matches intent as our table column. So what I need to do is let's first go into our intent, and under custom we're going to add MOTD. This is a MOTD banner set from intent. And let's go get the banner of the day from the sandbox. Hang on, I should be able to get that from the JSON. So sandbox, here's the message of the day banner. So let's take this whole banner and make it the intent. Okay, so now we have 3 intended banners. These 2 don't have a banner right now, so they're failing the test. Let's head into the Yang model now and go find and generate the API for that banner. So we're going to change this to OpenConfig system, and we're going to load the module, and we're going to find MOTD. So under the state, we have the MOTD banner. So let's generate that API, show that API. Oh, we can't, there is no put. We can only get it. Wow, okay, so my plan is not going to work because all we can do is get the message of the day banner. What about the domain name? Can we put the domain name? So it looks like system is only gets. Well, that throws a wrench in my plan. Let's look at another Yang model, the Cisco native Yang model. Cisco iOS XE. I don't know why I can't put or post. That's too bad. That's a real shame. This is going to be a short little stream if I can't find one to do puts against. Platform. Where's this? Is there a system? Switch. Wow, that's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's load a couple of these and just see. Well, I didn't realize I could not put against OpenConfig system. Coffee in hand. Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for joining, Stephen. Hey, Angel. I've hit a bit of a snag. Whereas domain name and message of the day, they only have a get method. they don't have a put or a post or anything to update it. So that sort of has thrown me off here, and I'm going hunting to see if any of the, let's do Cisco common operations. I'm gonna have to go looking around. Maybe I don't want, it's not really features. All right, let's take a look at these load modules. And I'm loading quite a bit of stuff here because I have no limit on the depth. I may have to do some Googling here. Anyway, just in case you are joining, what I wanted to do was add a message of the day banner to my intent and then push that message of the day through the open API, but it only supports gets for message of the day. But what I do have working is interface descriptions. And we might be able to do IP addresses on interfaces or something else. And it's all working very nicely. The test cases are working out great. So here's my last run where originally, right, the actual description was should fail, but my intended description was 2, right? Description on loopback 0 in my intent file was 2. So it fails the test. It then updates through a put the description on that interface, shows the differential, so we remove should fail and we added 2, and then it retests and you can see that they match, and now it passes. So self-testing, self-remediating through pyATS using RESTCONF. And then I got ahead of myself and I thought, well, what if I could do things like banner of the day? Why can't I expand these? I can only expand the bottom one. Here's banner, message of the day, banner. Okay, let's see, generate APIs. Generate API. Okay, what's this one under? Native? iOS XE native. Let's just load the native. So maybe there is a message of the day. Let's see if the native supports a put or a post or a patch. Native, banner, message of the day, banner, generate APIs. And what do you think? Haha! Haha! All right, let's go back to our intent and undo what I just deleted. All right. Now we're cooking. So this is using a different API, and I should change the API in my. All right, so hang on. All right, so, and actually let me prove that this works in Postman. So let's get that banner, and it should be empty. So from data over, no, from RESTCONF over, and it's not going to be, there's no banner. But if I change to the sandbox, it should have a banner. Access denied. Or is that a netconf? No, RESTCONF. That's weird. Hang on. Okay, let me just change. Let me swap out the API first and make sure that my test still works. So I need to find, here's my message of the day banner. And let's change the path here to the message of the day banner. All right, so we're just swapping out to use the XE native model as opposed to the open config model. And let's just see what happens. Oh, hey Fushnikin, no problem. I enjoy doing this. I'm going to be working on it anyway, so I thought, okay, so it doesn't like. Oh, my test is wrong because the JSON is different. Aha, okay, all right. So I got a 404 on it doesn't like that at all on some of these devices. So on the sandbox in particular, 404 instead of 200, 204. Oh, hang on. I think I went too deep. Let me undo that. Yeah, all right, that's right. That's my mistake. That is the actual banner, but what I need is the native. And I'm getting a 404 because there is no banner. So what I should be doing here is just getting the native and then looking for, oh, I see what I'm doing here. So for the system test, I'm gonna have to rewrite this whole thing. Let me undo that. For the system test, I was using openconfig system. And I'm writing the openconfig system JSON and then testing for message of the day here. So what else am I testing? Domain name. Now is domain name, I assume, is also in the native model? Maybe? Domain name. So I'm going to have to swap out models here. Okay, all right. So that's a little bit more work than I thought, but that's okay. So instead of test system, we're going to test Cisco iOS XE native. And then I need to adjust some things here. So I need to get the path. Now this is going to be a huge amount of data because it's the full native model. But that's fine. Let's go ahead and grab the full native model. And then what we're going to do is change the file name from openconfig system to and I should call this pretest. I'll worry about that later. I'll refactor that later. For now, Cisco iOS XE native .json. Now that's the whole thing. I suppose I could, but that's, and then I'm following up with tests for, yeah, let's leave it like that. And then let me get rid of these files. And let's just go ahead and call it pre-test right now. I might as well, because I'm going to be doing post-testing, pre-test. So then I need to say if MOTD banner in, and I need to change the structure here. So let's comment out these couple of things, and let's just get the data so that I know what keys I need to work with. Okay, so that worked, and now there's my native model there, and it's just full of stuff. It's everything we'd want to know about the device. So I know for banner of the day, I need to go to the sandbox one because it has a banner of the day. Okay, so it's not under interface. No, I'm under open interfaces. Hang on. This is the one I want. Banner, right there. So it's directly under the parent. So let's split the screen and rewrite this test. And we'll just do banners test first. So if, and it's just, all right, so if banner, actually we're going to say if MOTD in native now if there's no banner, let me just take a look at there is no key banner here, so that's not going to work. So what I need to say is two levels of if statements, I guess. If banner in that, and then if MOTD in banner, like that. And let's leave it like that. So I should have two devices fail because there is no banner, and one device pass that has a banner if that new logic holds true. Let's go ahead and run it. I should see some red. Why did they pass? Let's look at our logging. It has a message of the day banner, and it didn't draw my table either. It did for this one. So this is a true. This is what I'm expecting. Is a little table, but for my other devices that false positive because they don't have banners and it's not drawing a table. So let's take a look at that logic again. If banner is in that, if message of the day banner is in that, so I guess I need another else for the if banner, because banner might not be message of the day banner. So let me I don't know that that's the error, but that should make it better because there is no banner. Although it should have failed. Maybe that's why. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. There we go. That's why. I missed the outer logic. Okay, wonderful. So, right, no banner, failed, does not have a message of the day banner. Okay, now let's try to remediate it. Now to remediate it, I'm going to split my screen and try to cheat and look at my code that I wrote last night for my failed. Right, so I'm just going to add another if statement right here. It says if banner MOTD. Now I gotta go back to my postman. No, my JSON for sandbox. So it's banner MOTD banner. Okay, all right, all right. Equals self dot device dot custom dot MOTD. I'm just going to make sure that that is my intent. Device custom MOTD. So if they equal each other, that is a passed test. And I'm going to say has correct banner, else has incorrect banner and fail the test. And we're going to say incorrect banner. So then my else logic is if it does not equal, hang on. So if there's a banner, if message of the day is in banner, and then if they match, pass the test. Else, fail it with an incorrect banner. And this is going to say no MOTD banner. Right, so if they match, then pass it. Else, say it's incorrect. And then if MOTD is not in banner, then I know there's no message of the day banner. And then another one repeating this else for the outer loop. and that would be no banner at all. I'm never going to see these messages. It's more for my no logic, no banners. And then append the row. So let's run it before we remediate anything. And what I should get now is kind of the same thing. 2 failed, but I want to see if this one is still passing, if it's evaluating whether or not my intent matches the running banner. And then what we'll do is add the code to fix it if it's not correct or if it's not present. No banner, no banner, and there we go. Now, that's not quite right. Still hitting on has a banner. Oh, because I didn't save the Python. Huh, all right. Ha, more coffee, that's what that says. Okay, so hang on. Dictionary has no attribute MOTD. Which side of the equals doesn't it like? Pretty sure I got that right. Cisco native, banner, MOTD, banner. And then self-device custom MOTD. Custom MOTD. Self-device custom interfaces.items. Self-device custom MOTD. Let's just print that and see. Let's print both of them. Let's just print that one. I'm not sure why that didn't work. It's not obvious to me why that's failing. Yeah, this is a banner from intent. This is a banner from intent. Okay, so it's working on the first two, but it's not working on my third device. Okay, so there's something wrong with my intent file. What's wrong with my intent? It's spelled wrong. M-O-D-T, M-O-T-D. Haha! I am not above making typos. All right, let's try this again. And now it should say has correct banner. So it does, it has the correct banner. And it passed. Okay, now let's actually set up the banners. So what we're saying is self-failed banner is what we can key on. Like here I say if self-failed banner, fail the test. So I'm going to steal some functions here. From my above code, because I'm not going to rewrite this code. I'm going to just modify it. So we're going to set up 4 new tests. One that says update interface description. We're going to call this one update message of the day banner. And we're going to say if self-failed banner, then pre-change JSON equals the parse JSON, payload equals. Now let's go get the payload for the banner. Right here. So my payload, why am I getting protocol denied on here? Is RESTCONF not up on the sandbox? It has to be. Well, we'll just go get our payload from the sandbox JSON. So this is going to be, I really wish it was working in Postman. Let's just do it the other way. Let's see if I can set up a quick banner. Testing. Okay. Right, so we take this payload, and we set it up as our dump. And instead of ES here, we're going to make this an F string and say our custom device. Oh, wrong spot for the F string. F string of device dot custom dot MOTD. Self dot device. Self device custom MOTD. Self device custom MOTD. And I think it's a put. So we're going to say update MOTD banner equals self device rest put. Now I need the path to that URL. So from here over. And this doesn't need to be an F string. And then payload. Then I'm going to print to the screen the put to update the MOTD banner. Status code was, and then that status code, and then retesting MOTD. No MOTD mismatches, skipping test. So this should, as of this stage, apply a message of the day banner based on our intent. I'd be happy to go back on Art of Engineering. I don't know if I've already been on there twice, but I would love to do it again if they want to have me back on there for sure. I'm not sure if there's much more to talk about, maybe automation and intent and the stuff I'm doing now. But yeah, I'm always willing to go back on the Art of Engineering podcast. I absolutely love that. So then our next test is going to be to get the data after we've updated it. So we're going to say get, I guess I could call it that, get post-test Yang data if there's a failed banner, post, and then re-get the native. And we're going to call this, what did I call it up here? I need to change that. It's not open config interfaces anymore. It's, I'm just going to call it native, parsed native. And then down here, it's going to be post parse native. Create the test files. So again, if there's a failed banner, and let's give the same name, but we're going to call it post test. And then do the diff. So there's no interface loops here. I just need to change into message of the day banner. Now, what I need to do is say, do my if statements for the pre-changed. So these two things here for my pre-changed diff, because if it didn't exist, right. Yeah, so this is for my differential. So I'm going to say if the banner is in the native model, if message of the day is in the banner, then set self pre-changed parse JSON oh, hang on, I need to declare these as variables. I'm not doing this right. Let me look at my reference. Pre-change equals change equals, and then I'm going to diff pre-change and post-change. And then otherwise skip it, no MOTD mismatch is skipping test, and then retest. So if there's a failed banner, get yang data, and then rerun the test MOTD. No MOTD mismatches. All right, let's see what happens here. Now, I'm not going to change anything for now. Let's just make sure all this logic holds up. Incorrect banner. Okay, so I can't. Right, that's my mistake on the differential. It's strings aren't supported in the differential. It has to be a dictionary. So instead of this no banners, I'm going to have to say like that. Maybe like that. Yeah, let me try that again. I always forget that. You can't do a diff on strings. It has to be a dictionary. So let's see if those are valid dictionaries, if that's going to work. Now it skipped update message of the day. Now I don't know why it skipped it. It should have moved into the failed test. But I didn't get the errors anymore. Let's see what's happening. Oh, I think I know why. It's because this is a minute. Yeah, so it did. Let me. No banner MOTD. Let me flush out the banners. It worked. It actually did update the banners, as you can see, but my differential failed. So if I do a show run include banner, right? So no banner. All right, so now this is pretty cool. Check this out. We've actually accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. We just didn't know it yet. So let's delete our files. Now there's no banners, right? And I can confirm that with Postman. There is no banner. Well, it's empty. Shouldn't be any banner. Well, anyway, there is no banner, as you can see. And actually, when I log in, let's see if we get a message of the day banner. So now in our intent, we're going and adding custom. This is an MOTD banner set from intent on the two devices. But as you can see, there is no banner right now. So what we're going to do, just to go over the code again, from top to bottom, we're going to connect to our devices. We're going to parse the native Yang model from iOS XE native. We're going to create a pre-test JSON that captures anything before we change anything. We're then going to test if banner, if message of the day, if our banner equals our banner in our intent, pass the test. Otherwise, fail the test, fail the test, fail the test for any of the three else's. Write a table that has banner and the message of either no MOTD banners, no MOTD banner, incorrect banner if it doesn't match, or has correct banner. We're going to follow up and update the banner from our intent, setting up a payload, a JSON dump of that key in the native Yang model and our intent. We're going to rest put against the full path of the Yang model, attaching that payload. Print to the screen the status code of this put, and then retest the whole thing. So retest it, create a post-test file, differentiate, do a diff on pre and post changes to print to the screen the changes that were made, and then retest the whole thing again after it's been made correct. Very cool, right? So let's run this again. Exciting, exciting. All right, here we go. We're going through our interface tests right now. Message of the day ban. Oh, so yeah, it still failed on the diff. It's failing on my differential, but it is updating the banner. I gotta fix that differential. See, I'm getting an error on the post diff because it's still treating it as a string. Is it because I put it in quotes? We're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. I want it to print the differential. No. Let's do this. Well, if there was a message of the day, this is where it's failing. It's this line here and this line here. And I can fix that easily. Hang on. I got to go back into those devices. But let's see, when we sign into these devices now, do we have a message of the day banner when we log in? Which we did not have beforehand. There, right? This is a message of the day banner from intent. Haha, pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. No banner MOTD. And again, on the second device, we're going to have another banner. There's my banner. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to make that an empty string. Instead of putting that inside of there, let's just make them empty. Because if they wasn't present, then there was no banner. And that should work for a differential. Let's try it again. We're not quite 100%. We want the differential to print the diff. And then what we're going to do is update our intent and get it to overwrite. Class string is not supported. Still not working with the empty. thought that would work, just setting up an empty dictionary. I will crack it. I just thought that setting up an empty dictionary would work. Hey Ashish, I'm 44, so I'm up there. How do I get my brain working on all these new things? Well, it's really curiosity more than anything. I've wanted to work with the Yang models for a while now, and I wanted to try. I knew that pyATS had a REST connector, and it was sort of went from there. Can I make the REST connector work? What can I do with the REST connector? Um, you know, most of it's experience. I've been working on computers for a very, very long time, really long time, 30 plus years. So programming, networking, you name it, I've been involved with it on computers. So um, I don't, you know, hopefully this inspires you. I don't mean to scare anybody away or think I'll never be able to figure this out or think this way. But yeah, so I'm 44. I started using computers when I was about 10, so about almost 35 years worth of computer history behind me. Professionally, 20 years I've been in IT. And I went to school for computer programming. So I went for a 3-year computer programmer analyst course. Still don't know why this isn't working, because that's not a string. And this is not the problem. Well, let me try something here. Let me take this. I thought I did this. Merlin content. Hey D. Merlin is still up there. It's still working. Where to start? I would start with maybe just the base Merlin project. If you want to do something that's in Django, there's Merlin Unchained. There's also Business Ready, and there's also pyATS, all on my GitHub. But if you hit any snags with Merlin, or watch the videos in my, if you go to my infrastructure as code playlist, there's all kinds of videos there about Merlin. And I'm always available to help if you hit any snags. So you can either open an issue on the GitHub repo or reach out to me on Twitter. Let's try it this way. Let's just say that it was an empty banner for that key value pair. Let's try that. And I've noted out the banners, so we're pretty close. The only thing that's not working right now is my differential. So no banner of the day, you can see that. And again, I use banner because it's a nice, simple, easy example. We'll move on to domain name next, which will be a wholesale copy and paste of this set of tests, but we're going to replace it with the domain name. Now let's see, are we going to get a diff? No, class string is not supported. But that's not a string. This is really starting to irritate me. What do I do for my other test here. Do I need to JSON dump it? Is that what I'm missing? Oh no, I have an equals here. Hang on. I had double equals. That's not right. Oh, hang on. I think this is just my mistake. I think it should look like that. Ha! Silly boy. All right, one more attempt at this. Let's try it that way. If not, I think maybe I need to JSON dump that, but I don't think so. Let's flush out those banners again. Oh, I can't believe that I've been doing that wrong. I had it. It's just bad. It's just not good. I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, let's try it now. And you'll see why I'm doing this. It's the differential that I want to print to the screen. No, still thinks it's a string. I think I need to JSON dump this maybe. Thing is, if I put JSON dumps in front of pre-change, it's already not a diction, it's already a JSON there. Let me just try it. And I gotta flush out those banners again, which is becoming... I'll just leave these sessions open now because I'm not quite 100% that if this is going to work either. All right, let's try it with a JSON dump of that string. So the official study guides for CCNP, but yeah, class still thinks it's a string. Maybe it should be loads instead of dumps. If you go to here, Fushnik, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but if you go to Cisco Digital Learning, so Cisco Digital Learning, they have a ton of stuff on here, and you can see there's a free 3-day trial. And they have full CCNP courses. So designing enterprise networks, there's all kinds of full-blown courses for CCNP. Or if you go to the learning portal and CCNP Enterprise, there's 9 courses available here for CCNP Enterprise. I would definitely see if your employer can get you an account on here, or use the 3 free day trial, or buy an account yourself. But they have the CCNP Enterprise Core, 9 different courses, and the courses of various lengths. Right, so networking, courses, and we can look for CCNP. All kinds of stuff on here. Enterprise Core, exam review to see if you're ready for the exam. Lots and lots and lots of stuff on here. So I would recommend that to get started, as well as the official study guides. That should have been loads, I think. Load the string as a dictionary. Let's see. Haha. But that's because I didn't change the message of the day. Did I not know it out? Let's try it again. I'm hoping it's a lot of work to get the diff working, but I'll show you why I want the diff. It'll actually log what it was before the test and what it was after the test. Okay, so that didn't work. Expecting 1, so it's like it's empty. I can't do it that way. Let's just do some printing. Let me know those out again. Let's just see what happens if I print the JSON loads on the screen. Okay, so it doesn't like that. It's because it's empty. It's because there is no string at all. wondering if I even need to do these tests. Let me back out of those tests. Yeah, let me just... Maybe I'm overthinking that. Because I know that I'm already in the failed test, so there is a banner. Maybe. I don't know. Let me try it just straight up like this. This is hanging me up quite a bit. I was hoping to move on to something else, but I want to get this diff going. Oh, awesome. I've been up to Barrie a couple times, Wasaga Beach, and just past Wonderland. Yeah, Barrie's a nice place. I've been there a few times. So it still thinks it's a string. Let me drop banner. I think I did this yesterday. I'm not learning from my own mistakes, because that is the actual string of the key instead of the parent key. Aha, this will work. So let me undo, because that logic was pretty good. And instead, what we're going to do is just drop banner. I thought it was these ones that were failing though. Here, hang on, let me go back up a layer to MOTD. Yeah, see if your employer will spring for a digital learning portal, because there's incredible stuff on there. If you want to move on to your DevNet associate, or you know, get your CCNP, it's an incredible place. There's pre-tests, practice tests. Are you ready for the exam? Sort of preparations. Let's try this. Because I think prior to that I was getting the actual key value. And I think you can use credits for an account on that site. So I'm pretty sure that you can use CE credits or whatever credits, training credits or whatever, to get an account. Aha! Yes, it's just my own foolishness. So now we have the differential. So all that heartache and struggle was for that differential that you're seeing on the screen, and I'll show you exactly why I did that. So we can see here it has an incorrect banner. So then we update the banner with our put, and we get a 204, meaning the put was successful, and then we retest it. Then we print the pre and post diff. So before the change, the banner was not present, it was empty. Then after the change, we added this banner was set from intent. So now we know that we can know out the banners and that it works. Now let's just update our intent. And I'm going to just go to my intent and change my banner to say, today is, let's say yesterday was International Dog Day, pet your dog. And let's add a line break. Pet your dog. Save that on disk router 1. Okay, now let's run this. And this is the whole idea. We just have to update the YAML file. We just update the intent. We don't have to log in. We don't have to know the commands. We update our intent and we let the code take care of the rest of it. So here it failed, incorrect banner. And then here we have our differential. The banner used to say this is a message of the day banner set from intent. Now we have plus, yesterday was International Dog Day, pet your dog. And in our logs here, I can't speak to O'Reilly. O'Reilly is pretty good in itself, but that there's nothing compares to the digital learning. So here, test message of the day failed, and then everything else passed. And if we look in the logs, we can see that. Now let's log in and see, does it say International Dog Day? There we go. Yesterday was International Dog Day, pet your dog. Haha, pretty cool, right? Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so now let's, I'm going to delete this. Let's, continuing in the Yang suite, what else can we do? Well, look at all of this stuff we can do. All of this stuff we can set programmatically through the API call. And this is the full native model, so it has absolutely everything. So let's find domain name. There's domain name. Now I don't know why this has a different, oh I see, and then there's VRF name. So let's just go to domain name and show the API. Oh, we got to generate the API first. And then we're going to load the API. No operations defined in spec. Oh, boo. Where else is domain? Bridge domain. So it doesn't look like, it's got a lock on there. I don't know what the lock means versus I'm not sure why it's this list instead of a folder. Ah, wrong button. So it doesn't look like we can do domain. We might have to find something else to set from the native model, or go back to the open model and do something else. I thought we could test domain. And domain does not have a put in the open config, only a get. So it's not quite 100% parity like the CLI, where if you can do conft, domain name. Put it or update it. Some of them only allow you to get, and some of them don't allow you to do anything. So let's take another look for domain. So there's the native model. We just did banner. Now domain has a different icon, so I'm not, that might indicate, and it's got a little lock on there. So maybe it doesn't let you, right, it obviously doesn't give you any APIs, no operations defined. So I can't do any operations against domain. We could do host name. I don't really want to mess with host name or anything else. Is there something else that we could, like IP OSPF? Is it IP domain name? Hang on. Maybe that's, maybe I was just looking at the wrong key here. Show run include domain. IP domain name. There we go. All right, all right. So what we want is under IP domain name, and let's generate the API. And let's show the API. Haha, and I can get it and I can put it. All right, so let's get the domain name in Postman. And And there is the domain name. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so first thing we do is update our intent. And we're going to add under custom domain name. And I just have to get the domain name. So I think it's Virl, what was that? Virl.info. And that's going to be for routers 1 and 2. And then router 3, it has a different domain name for the sandbox. Let me just go sign into the sandbox and get the domain name. Let me wrap those in quotes too, just to be safe. I don't think I have to, but they are the strings. Particularly this one with the dots in it. Okay, all right, so we've set our intent. That's what we want the domain name to be. So now I'm literally just going to take this whole test I just did for message of the day. Yeah, I'm going to take the whole thing for message of the day. Paste it in. And then we're going to start here. So instead of test message of the day, we're going to test IP domain name and failed domain name. And then we're going to look at our, so if it has a domain name, so if name hang on, I'm lost here. Probably just, is it IP name? Or is it just domain name? Right here, IP domain name. So back in my logic, I need to say if IP is in native, and then if domain is in IP, and if name is inside of domain. I need to add an extra layer here of failures. I'll come back and address this, don't worry. Okay, I'm done with that. All right, so then this is going to be IP domain name equals custom, and I think I called it domain name. Domain name has correct, and let's actually put the domain name. So then, right, so that's if it matches, else it doesn't match. And then if it's even configured, right? So then I'm going to put in, instead of no MOTD banner, we're going to just say no domain name, no domain name, no domain name, no domain name. I got to get rid of all these trailing spaces too. No domain name, no domain name does not have a domain name, has the correct domain name. And actually, let me just change that message here. Has correct message of the day banner. So then update domain name, and that should be if self failed domain name. Alright, so then I need to take that same logic here. Paste it there. And I need one more else. right, so then I'm saying pre-name change equals IP domain without name and then I need to do this, get rid of name and take that. Right? So what I'm saying here is that if IP, if domain, if name, then the pre-change is the domain name, else it was empty. Else it was empty, else it was empty. So then pre and post, now the post is going to be IP domain and then diff them. Otherwise say no domain name mismatches and then retest them. And instead of test MOTD, we want to test IP domain name again. Okay, so right now there are no mismatches in the domain name. So let's run it, and this should pass all tests at this point. Test domain name passed. Test domain name passed. And let's just take a look at our table. Right, there is the correct domain name, and it passed. Now I guess I could add, let me improve that table to have the intended domain name and the configured domain name. So we're going to have intent domain name, configured domain name. So the intent is going to be the domain name, and then the actual is the domain name. And then write our intent, and then no domain name configured. 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 Let's try that again with our new table. My watch is dead. I gotta plug it in. Let me plug my phone in too. And let's take a look at our new tables. Right, so the device, oh, I'm off. Why did it throw everything off? Device intent, domain name, passed, failed. Oh, I forgot a comma. Haha. Okay. Let's clean that up and try it again. There we go. Device, intent, domain name, configured domain name. Okay, so now let's try to get some failures going. So let's go on to one of the devices and just remove the domain name. So show run include domain, so prompt t no IP domain name virl.info. Right, and if we do show run include domain, there is no domain name. So this should fail the test and then push the configuration, push the domain name onto the device. Retest it and pass on the second pass. So we're looking for a failure here. Okay, hang on. I have a false positive. It wrote the right thing, but it still has the correct domain name. I think I missed something in here. Yes, yes. When I rename this, I need to change that from self failed banner. Aha, that's why you test. So it didn't actually correct it. Now let's try it again. And this one will work, where it's going to update a domain name. Well, it's going to fail the test, update the domain name, retest, and pass the test. There we go. There's the failure. There's our differential. So here's our failure, right? Virl is the intent. No domain name is configured. Failure reason, device does not have a domain name. So update the domain name and put it. Retest it. Give me the diff. So it added lookup false and it added virl info. And it removed that it was empty. Hang on, I think I've done that. That's fine, that's fine. So now, if we do show run include domain, there is the domain name. Now, the last test is going to be to change the intent. So if we go to our intent, let's just change this to john.capo. Right, this will be our last test for today. And thank you for spending your Saturday morning with me. We're just wrapping up the morning. This should fail the test. There we go. So the intent is John Capo and the configured is virl info. We removed virl info and we added John Capo. And if I run domain, now my new domain is John Capo. So let's undo that. Run it again, and then I'll push all of this code up to DevNet, or excuse me, not DevNet. I will be putting this into DevNet Automation Exchange when I feel like I'm ready to do that. But this is great. So we tested message of the day banner, and we tested MOTE banner and domain name testing and remediation. Okay, wonderful. So again, we're using the native, iOS XE native model, not the open model in this case. And let me just get that pull request going. And the code is available. You can spin up your own sandbox. You can start writing your own tests. You can play with this code. It's all available on GitHub. And that will be it for me today. Thank you again for joining. This went really well, even though OpenConfig didn't have the put methods. The native model did have the put methods. So we can mix and match models very easily. So thanks again. We'll see you soon. Make sure you click on subscribe because I'm always streaming. I'll likely do some more streaming maybe even later on this evening or maybe tomorrow morning. So we'll see you soon. Click subscribe, click like, and if you have any questions, if you need anything from me at all, just reach out on Twitter, which is John_Capobianco on Twitter. All right, take care. Stay safe, everybody.